You're over there. You're over there. How do you like that? And then recording. Why do we record it? I don't know. Record to this computer.
Recording in progress.
All right. Oh, here's a short and sweet one. You ready? Ready to launch? T minus 10 and counting. Rumi, the breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. So, dear friends, let us remember. Let us remember the refuge in being the Buddha, in being awake. The refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. As we gather together here, right here, right now, in this, the moment. And it's the moment of breathing in and breathing out. It's the moment of thoughts, perhaps, of liking and disliking. Right there in the Satipatthana Sutra, the teachings on mindfulness, it starts out with finding a comfortable place, a quiet place, abandoning covetousness and grief concerning the world, letting go of the past and future. There's only this. It's probable that something will happen after this meditation time, but really it doesn't exist yet. How could it? Because this is now. So let us land here now in this breathing. And with very gentle diligence, come home to the aliveness of this moment. each breath arises spontaneously from the life of the planet, taking form as this body. There's the body that breathes, and there is knowing it. There are thoughts, sometimes schools of thoughts. Sometimes they rise to the level of restlessness and agitation. Sometimes there's great pools of desire, of wanting, of not wanting, of wanting not, of disliking. There's sleepy dullness. There's doubt. There's all the different emotions. All the way from ecstatic elation to despair and depression, anxiety. The Buddha discovered and passes down to us a true revolution. A true movement to independence, to be independent of thought, to be not dependent on emotion, to be not identified with the passing show. And so breath by breath, we set ourselves free, free to be alive and awake. Noticing the beginning and ending of each breath. let us remember our intention or aspiration to hold the entirety of our experience in love. This moment is like this. And whenever we find ourselves hurting, whenever suffering is present, I intend to hold myself in sweet compassion. Such a relief to have love and compassion as central threads of our lives, of this moment. Breathing in with gratitude and compassion. Breathing out with gratitude and compassion. awareness can be very lovingly attentive to the very beginning of a breath. It can be with the breath through its rising to fullness, through its decline and then its vanishing. This primary training object, this expansion and contraction of the body, provides a marvelous object for both mindfulness and concentration. And let's really notice the falling into trance states, the idea streams, the song of the self. I, me, mine. This is my idea about that, my opinion about that. I feel this way about that. I wonder if I'm doing it right or wrong, or should I be doing something different? What about it? How about that conversation yesterday? What about this? What about that? Mindfulness illuminates from within the 5 hindrances, all the various activities of mind and body, the world, in fact. Mindfulness shines upon them like the sun, with no holding back. Present, aware of this. Practicing like this is a profound step to taking responsibility for our destiny. Without mindfulness, we live out of fate. However we've been conditioned, we respond, we react. We have emotions and thoughts and feelings and perceptions. And then we think, this is who I am. It's just my personality. But with the Eightfold Path and with this simple practice of being present, we start hyphenating personality. We become curious about our conditioning, about our prejudices, about our perceptions. Thoughts become worthy of investigation as objects. The mood of the moment is worthy of noting as it colors perception. And so we're mindful and somewhat concentrated and curious. What's happening now? when we came into the world as infants, we were utterly dependent for everything. And the world came to our assistance. We all have a story about this: birth, infancy, childhood. Some welcomings were thorough, complete. Other welcomings had some reticence or complications. Whatever happened then, over the first year or so, created a certain level of basic trust, faith in the world. Meditation allows us to bring a profound loving to our deepest conditionings. Relaxing here, breathing, feeling safe around the campfire of the Dharma, having nothing to prove. Taking refuge in that which is awake here. And in the insight meditation, we simply soften more and more into what is in this moment. And the insight reveals metta and karuna, love and compassion. And there are some very simple things we can do to encourage the love and compassion. One is to use the thinking mind. And to recite gently the great love mantra. I love you, with your name at the end. And maybe it's the you who's just been born, still covered in vernix and a little bloody maybe. You're in a nice warm blanket. I love you. Welcome. I'm so glad you were born. I'll do my very best to protect you. The truth is that the past is over. But what we do with the memories of the past is far from over. So I love you, with your name at the end, is good medicine. I love you, I'll attend to you, I'll never abandon you again. Feel your way into the breath, into this precious breath right now. Breathing in, breathing out. It's not as though you have to breathe it. It breathes all by itself. Breathing in, breathing out. I love you with your own name at the end. And this love, this metta, this holding of positive regard, we can also develop in ourselves for others. Think of a loved one whom it's easy to love. Traditionally, one can use mentors or teachers. Someone who's really been kind to you in this lifetime. I commonly use Ruth. Wish this person well. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from fear and danger. May you be liberated. You just turn the mind in this direction. It's not work. Can't be done wrong. Inclining the mind toward wishing well for another. We can do the same for a family member, a friend. In a way, the practice of metta is one of simply dissolving into life. May beings to the east of us, countless beings, humans, animals, fish, insects, birds, may beings to the west of us be free from all forms of suffering, to the south of us. Through California and Baja, and with a little jog to the east, Brazil and Costa Rica and Argentina, Chile, people, creatures. To the north of us, all beings in Vancouver, BC, and Chilliwack, Canada, and over the pole into Russia and Ukraine. May all beings be free from identification with their human madness. And let us come here to this sitting together. Notice the body where it touches the chair. Notice the aliveness in the hands and arms, and rising up to the face, the cheeks, the forehead. And when you're ready, noticing the intention to open the eyes, and then let's allow the eyes to open and be mindful of seeing. Mindful of seeing. And in my instance, I have a rather large screen with little rectangles on it, little Harry Potter living portraits. May these beings benefit from the merits of their practice. That's nice. May those of you on Zoom and Facebook, whenever you listen to this or see it, may you inexplicably feel content. The meditator's happiness. I don't know why I'm happy. Maybe I wouldn't even call it happy. Maybe I just call it this. It's certainly wonderful to see you here today. Happy 4th of July. I hope you have some nice plans, either to stay home and be nice and quiet or be out in the hubbub of the world. I'm going to meet my son and daughter-in-law and grandkids in Hillsborough for the 10 o'clock parade. That'll be what it is. Could be fun. And then Jen and I have a weekend pass at the waterfront. So we will be rocking out again this afternoon and evening. May we all experience independence from our tyrannical minds and be able to, what was his name? Just forgot somebody's name I wanted to remember just now. One of the creators of family therapy, one of the 4 or 5, he created the notion of the family emotional system. And the task in the family, and of course the task in life, is to think our own thoughts, feel our own feelings, and make our own decisions. Actually, to be independent. I'm losing my mind. I lost a favorite old therapist friend. So, friends, and Jim, should we do announcements? Have you got an announcement?
I have no announcement.
Let's go announcement free. So, if any of you have anything you'd like to share on this exquisite morning, I find interesting it's really interesting actually, the effect of being in so much music for several days in the background. I don't even know what the tune is. It may not be a particular one, but there's been so much music around me that it continues sort of. Of course, it'll fade away, right? It does that. Yesterday I was feeling kind of grumpy, or maybe it was the day before, I forget. And Chubby Carrier and the Swamp something or other Zydeco band started playing, and I simply felt teary. I simply could not stand still. What a remarkable thing. No, I'm going to stand here and be depressed, damn it. You can't trick me. And then that guy plays his accordion. I played accordion for 5 years when I was a kid, so I'm especially fond of it. All right, I shall be quiet and see if anyone wants to speak. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Robbie. That all those musicians that you've been enjoying, I always like you to remember that they pay quite a price to bring you that, to be able to bring you that joy and that feeling.
You mean the travel and
the million hours, the 10,000 hours it takes to learn to play a musical instrument. Long time to just learn how to do it. And 99.9% of musicians in the world don't make much money. They don't have job security. They don't have medical benefits. They don't have vacations. They don't have the safety net the people with regular jobs have. And the amount of illness and drug abuse and inability to maintain personal relationships and that always present offering of cheap thrills and free booze and all kinds of stuff. They live a hell of a life. It's a good life. I'm not saying it's not a good life and you should feel sorry for them, but they pay a price when Chubby What's It and whoever they are. If they're playing good, if they're playing real, then they paid a hell of a price to bring that to you. It's just a good thing to know.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Wow. As some of you know, my mother-in-law died on Friday morning. Maybe it was Thursday. I forget already. Not unexpected. She fell a day or so earlier and broke her hip, and she may well have had a stroke or something which caused the fall. But she winked out on one of those mornings early, 6 o'clock. And so Jen and I got to be with her body for quite a while as she cooled and became that. And with that recent poignancy, I've been doing, a lot of the time I'm just playing, dancing, and being aware of the body moving and the music and so on. But I've also done a lot of walking around in a crowd. And it's so remarkable to see the aliveness in people. And to remember that every single one of us there and here is going to die. And so that which animates us in the moment is so remarkable and precious. And there's a practice Matt Flickstein, one of my teachers, has been sharing, which is when in such circumstances, remember that you're everybody. Remember that you're the persons that you're conditioned to like or dislike or be attracted to or be repelled from. And to it quiets the comparing mind or the wanting mind remarkably. It's like, oh, I'm this person and this, and there's so much feeling that comes from each person. It's a wonderful laboratory for the practice of metta, of loving. And thanks for pointing that out about the musicians, Tim. It's certainly true of the people. I mean, the one sees such elation and joy and such incredible sadness, and in the crowd, it's just happening all the time. The anxiety, it's very fascinating. I like to walk through the crowd and be awake and be open. And every now and then, someone will meet my eyes and we both light up. It's like, oh, you're awake. Great. Yes.
Good morning, it's Francine.
Hello, Francine.
Well, here's a shout out to Cascade Zydeco. It's the organization I'm deeply involved in, and our group is responsible for getting all those Zydeco musicians here to town. And so I spent plenty of hours on the dance floor, as I love to do. And Robert, like yourself, I'll walk through the crowd kind of reluctantly because it's a little too dense for me. And I think especially to get to the bathrooms or the far end or the other entrance or something, I have to really sort of shut down because it's kind of too much for my nervous system to even try to take that all in, because it seems like there's a group that moves through. It occurs to me they're looking for the fun part. There's almost it feels almost desperate to me to, the crowds that are pushing through that kind of narrow opening. And yet when you get on the dance floor, everyone is so present because you just cannot be unhappy on the dance floor. It's a great, great, great group. So sorry I missed you. I was there for Chubby. Yeah. Also went on the cruise on Friday. He played on that Spirit of Portland, and I had never been on that boat before. Very, very fun.
Uh-huh.
And his group loves it here. We're really take especially good care of them when they're in town.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really loving it that I had COVID 2 weeks ago, because I just am not afraid of COVID right now.
Yep.
It's like, whew.
Yeah, I bet I danced with, 200 people, something. And it's that wonderful embrace, and you're close and you're in, and there's this freeing thing. I thought it was interesting. There were a few people on the dance floor with 500 people with mask on. And it was like, well, okay, there's that.
Yeah.
Fun weekend, that's for sure.
Tim is waving, wiggling his
from
fingers.
the position, from the point of view of the bandstand, of the musicians, the band. There's an energy exchange between the band and the audience that's very, very palpable. It's very, very real. And when the audience is really with you, and when they dance, or if they don't dance, but when they're really with you, there's a lightness, as if you were carrying a load and somebody came and picked up part of that load. I mean, it's literally, the audience does at least half the work, and the energy exchange is it's a plus kind of a thing. I mean, you paid dues and they paid admission and whatever, but it raises and lightens. When you get it just right, there's a feeling of weightlessness that is so serene and so powerful and so addictive. It's one of the reasons people subject themselves to, from most practical points of view, a really shitty career choice of being a traditional musician. From most people's point of view of that, it's just one of the stupidest things you could possibly ever choose to do. But when that energy exchange happens and that lightness happens, it's all worth it.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, Robert.
Neil, hello.
Hey, I have a identification question for you.
Okay.
When like during the sit, when you were guiding us and you were saying, like those are emotions and those are feelings, and at some point you said, something about fate and how because we're practicing mindfulness, we have a choice about responding to our conditioning.
Yes.
And but at the end, there's this whole kind of inner child kind of work stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of intertwines with, I guess Buddhist psychology or whatever. Kind of, it's like there's non-identification, and then there's, yes, there was the past, and the past isn't happening, but those memories are still here, and so I'm going to take care of that. And there's like a Thich Nhat Hanh thing where he talks about like feelings, and he'll say breathing with my anger or breathing with my fear. And when I read that, I think, well, that's not non-identification. What's he doing? But he's Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't, who am I to argue with this guy? So
why not?
I don't know. I got a little stirred up at the end when you talked about the past, but it was good to hear that. And I just wanted to check that in and wanted to hear what you thought.
You got stirred up at the end? You mean when
you talked about the past, like the past, is over.
Okay.
And that made me feel a little bit of activation, but it was, I'm okay.
Well, it's a really great observation. Nothing exists except what's here now. Well, what about the scars on my body? What about what about the trauma from this bad thing that happened in my childhood or 2 weeks ago? And the theoretical answer is, well, they all exist now. Everything exists right now. And how one woman I spotted yesterday just in passing was super hyper vigilant. She was not really having a nice time there. It was scary for her. Maybe she was on drugs, I don't know. And so I know what it's like to be caught in some old energy and to feel unloved and so on. And so one of the things we can do is in the present moment, which is when the past occurs, is when memories occur, it's like it's now, with some mindfulness and intention, I can actually influence that which arises in this present moment. What seed will I plant for the next moment? And one of those seeds can be, I love you. And then over time, there was a quintessential moment for me a long time ago. I was building a hot tub, and I was also doing a lot of loving kindness meditation, forgiveness, and intentionally planting positive thoughts toward Bobby, little Bobby. And the details really don't matter, but I hurried and I finished this big project, a multi-week project. I finished it and drove the last couple of nails in just as it started to pour. And I was climbing down a ladder, and this unprompted thought arose, which was, good job, Bobby, well done. And those were not intentional thoughts. I've been thinking that kind of thoughts, but that happened spontaneously. And it's like the planting resulted in a spontaneous moment of self-appreciation, which was, I stopped halfway down the ladder. It was like, holy shit, what was that? Where did that come from? And so it's kind of like remedial work that we do to come to love ourselves more. And ultimately, what happens is it's all stardust. But both are true. There's the stardust end of things, and there's here's my experienced process of having a self, and why not do what I can to have that be loving? Same in forgiveness practice, right? Forgiving someone who died 30 years ago for what they did really has to do with our own minds. And that habit of I'm going to hold tight and hate that person because they hurt me, and I'm going to be sure they never do it again. Well, why bother? When we have enough awareness and light in consciousness and compassion, we can relinquish that tension, and so we're planting seeds of a different outcome, a different destiny rather than a fate. Without consciousness, we inevitably live out of fate. We will believe what our parents taught us, and we will believe what our government tells us in the advertising, and we will straight on for our fate. But as we become more aware, we make all these thousands, millions of mid-course corrections. I intend to practice being generous, and so we're generous, and then we become a more generous person. Thanks, Neil. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, I need to go soon. I have to be at a particular street corner at 9:45. I think the traffic's going to be a little wild going there. Anybody sitting with something that it would be you'd really like to share before we go? Well, whatever you do today, may we all be at peace and safe. Let us sing hymn number 438 from the hymnal. Bhavatu Sabhe Mangalam. May all beings receive all blessings. Bhavatu Sabhe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabhe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabhe Mangalam. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.
Sadhu.
A little song from 2,600 years ago. May all beings receive all blessings. Happy day,
Thank you,
friends.
Sangha.
Happy 4th.
Here.
All
Happy
right.
4th.
Good morning, Neil.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe. Morning.